Greetings and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Aspire to Inspire, Inspo with Hot Cocoa. I'm your girl, Natural Ebb, and today I want to talk to you guys and give you a little inspiration about anybody who is considering marriage. So today's topic is going to be marriage life. So I have been married for 12 years, since 2012, to my wonderful husband, Christopher Daniels, and we have definitely built a life together. Now, at the very beginning, everything wasn't easy. We wasn't where we needed to be, just as far as life in general, just finances, everything. We was not where we needed to be. But as the years have gone by, we have created this life um, together, and also with our three beautiful kids that we have together now. We have created this life that I pray for and that I absolutely thank God that I have right now. And so I have a lot of friends, and I have some people, coworkers that I hear, want to talk about possibly getting married in the future and thinking about marriage. And please believe me when I say, you guys, marriage is what you created to be. I mean, there is a foundation of what marriage is, because marriage is a strong covenant under God. God, He honors, and well, He created marriage, but He honors marriage, and it is a covenant that you are taking under Him. So that's why marriage is so important as far as the foundation. And as far as your foundation should always be God. He should always be a foundation through marriage, through life in general, through everything. He should always be a foundation. But one thing for sure is that marriage is what you created to be. And I'm going to give you guys some tips, some inspirational tips on what you should expect from marriage and what you should build as far as having, if you want to have a successful and everlasting marriage. So, got my hot cocoa here. So, one thing for sure, and before I say it, I know you guys have heard me say that hot cocoa just soothes me, whether it's 50 degrees outside or 100 degrees. I love hot cocoa. So this is what the inspiration of this segment is for. But getting back to the topic, so marriage, for one thing, the first tip that I'm going to give for marriage is you always, I tell females this, I tell, females that I know and who ask me, of course, I let them know, you should never ever chase the other. You should always, always, always let God bring you your significant other. And I say that because, unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, it is, from what I've heard from single people, it is so hard. I hear people say all the time, single people, it's so hard dating. It's so many men that don't know what they want, and so many men, are out here playing games and doing all this, and not on the same level as I am. Well, for one thing is, God created a man as the head, and a woman is supposed to be the nurturer. She's supposed to be she's the nurturer. She's, the provider as far as a household and all that. So in the case of wanting to establish a relationship, and from a relationship to a marriage, the man is always supposed to seek the woman. The woman is never supposed to chase after the man. And I think that's where a lot of women in today's age make the first mistake, is that you're chasing after the other party. And I always tell women, for me, that my husband, we connected together. I didn't chase him, but we kind of, we kind of grew interested in each other. And of course, he would ask me out, and we would go places, and hey, let's do this, and his suggestion, let's do this, let's do that. And so we built that relationship based upon, him wanting to, be more and get more interest into me. And I was interested into him, but I didn't, never make the first move or anything like that. But knowing that, I was the seek I was the seekie and not the seeker, and like I said, to this day, my husband and I, we've been married 12 years and we have a, wonderful relationship. We love each other endlessly and we've built a life together. And so I tell single women all the time that if he is meant for you, he will find you. If he is meant for you, he will definitely pursue you. And pursuing you respectfully will be the first sign to know, okay, this is a potential. And then you just take it day by day, pray about it, let God show you what this really is supposed to be or what this is supposed to be becoming, and you go from there. So that's the first tip that I give women. Never be the chaser. Never be the chaser. Let a man seek you and pursue you. And then from that point, your women's intuition, which we have strong intuition and strong, women's, our mind and just how we think and our ambitiousness and all that. Like we women, we're strong-minded. So always listen to your heart and listen to your intuition and let it tell you from there. Seek the Holy Spirit advice, seeks God's counsel and God to show you, open up your mind and go from there. So that's the first tip. The second tip that I also give people who want to who wants to be married or seeking marriage is that never think that marriage is going to be perfect. There is no perfect relationship, I believe. There is no perfect marriage, I believe. There is bound to have some disagreements, some it's not seeing eye to eye at times. But at the end of the day, it's all about you and your husband, future husband, coming together and having the same vision you have for your household, your marriage, as far as you're raising your kids. You both have that same vision. Now, as far as me and my husband, I'm blessed that we don't have serious problems, so we've never had serious problems. I mean, we've had disagreements. Don't get me wrong, we've had disagreements. But at the end of the day, we've always talked to one another and always, set aside each other and say, hey, okay, this is why, or why do you feel this was necessary, or angry? Why did you get angry? Or for me, I'm gonna tell you, this is why I became angry, such and such. And so I feel like at the end of the day, never, ever, ever go to bed angry. Never go to bed angry. Always talk out your problems, and if the other person needs space to kind of, gather thoughts and come together, well, not come together, but gather thoughts and just need some time apart, there's nothing wrong with that. Because my husband, when I get angry, my husband leaves me alone for a minute. He lets me, calm down and relax. And then when he sees I'm ready to talk, then we'll have that conversation that we need to have. And vice versa. When I see my husband's angry, I give him a minute, let him calm down. And when I feel like it's the right time to bring about the issue, hands forth to the forefront, then we do so. So you always want to work out or come to that place to where you're able to talk about your problems. You're able to find a resolution together, one that is for your best interest, both of you, and that therefore you guys are able to move on and not hold on to that whatever made you angry, that grudge. You're not able to hang on to that. And so, like I said, never go to bed angry, that's for sure. As a married couple, you never want to go to bed angry. And so that's tip number 2. Never go to bed angry. Always, at the end of the day, resolve your problems, talk about it. What's the best solution and how do we go forward from here? Tip number 3, inspiration tip number 3. I tell people all the time that when you're married, you are one with your spouse. You are one. It's never this is my stuff, this is his stuff, our stuff is separate, our stuff is, this is his own thing, this is my own thing. It's never that. It's not that when you're married. You become one with your husband, and whatever you guys have and share is one. So I tell people all the time, and this is just being straight, hardcore honest, If you are a selfish person, then marriage most likely is not for you at that time until you can let go of being that selfish one and willing to compromise, because marriage is compromising. A woman is supposed to be submissive to her husband, and most people think of submissive as, oh, he's not going to tell me what to do, he don't control me. That's not the definition of submissive when it comes to marriage. My husband is the head of our household, and I follow under his leadership. Now, I have my own voice, and he knows it. I have my own voice. I speak, I say, voice what I need to voice, and then we work together and come up with a solution. So being submissive does not necessarily mean that he's controlling you. It's that you are under your husband's leadership, and under his leadership is being what's best, or is doing what's best for the atmosphere of your home and the atmosphere of your marriage. It sets the tone of your marriage. So I tell women all the time, submissive is not, my husband does not control me. I'm not submissive to him like that. But he is the head of our household, and I am under his leadership. I follow under his leadership. And we work together. We talk out things, whether it be finances, the kids, what have you. We talk about it, and then we work together and we find out what's the best solution. And it's simple as that. So definitely, if you are a selfish person, and that's just being real, if you know it's all about you, nothing else, you matters, nobody else matters, then I tell people marriage is not for you at that time until you can fully just let go of your own self, and with the God's, the Holy Spirit's help, and seeking guidance, and really be willing to compromise. So that's one thing I tell people: marriage is not a selfish atmosphere. It's not a selfish act. It's not a selfish anything. You have to compromise. You have to compromise. And that's one thing that I've had to learn as the years went on with my husband, is that I couldn't always think that what I want goes. No, I have to also keep in mind, his thoughts, his feelings, and also to, work with him, be willing to listen to my husband's advice, take his advice, and figure out which is the best resolution for whatever the problem is or the task is at hand. So that's simply what that all boils down into. So that's the third tip, is let go of selfishness if you want to see yourself married. Let go of the selfishness. Realize that it's not about you. And for sure, let me just say this: when you have kids, it's really not all about you. Because if the spouse doesn't, have to compromise with the spouse, the kids take everything. Because Lord knows, I can't have nothing on my own without my kids. Mommy, can I have this? Mommy, can I have that? Oh, I want this, So that's a whole nother level when you have children. So definitely, you cannot be selfish when you have kids, for sure. But that's definitely something that you have to definitely think about and consider when you want to take that next step in life. So that's tip number 3. The next inspirational tip that I'm going to give you is that when you make that commitment, that covenant in marriage, it's you and your spouse. It's nobody else around. It's not your family. It's not your mom, not your dad, not your sisters, not your brothers, not your cousins, not your girlfriends. It's none of that. It's you and your husband. So I always tell people, when you get married, keep people out of your business. People are going to always have their opinions, what you should do, what they think is best for you. And that is not even a thought to even consider bringing into your marriage. It is about you and your husband. It is you two. And when you have issues, when you have problems that may come a hand, when, honestly, it's life. Stuff happens in life that we cannot control. That's beyond our control. And when you come to the task at hand with your spouse, keep it between you and your spouse. You guys come together and you guys figure out a best way to resolve it at hand. Don't run away from it. Don't run away from the problem, but figure out the best way to resolve and the best solution to tackle it head first. One thing that I know, when I first got married, or when I had my first child, my oldest son, and when I got married, my uncle who raised me always told me, he said, people are gonna always think or tell you what they think you should do. But you have to know within yourself what you're gonna do despite what they say. So you have to know, you have to be strong enough to know, come in your mind and say, hey, what can I do to help this situation? What can I do to make this better? That works best for me, despite what anybody else think or say. And that's marriage. Between you and your husband, you have to think about what's the best way to tackle this situation, if there is one at hand, despite what mom or dad may think we should do, despite what our friends think we should do. You cannot have all that extra ears in your marriage, all that extra voices in your marriage. That it causes way too many problems that are on a whole nother level, and that's just something that the enemy uses as a distraction to decimate marriages. He uses other voices, he uses other people's perspectives and stuff to really try to steer you off the path of what God has ordained for your marriage, your covenant with your spouse. So always, 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 with you and your husband, keep your problems, keep your issues between you and your husband. Not you, your husband, your mama and your daddy, your sister and your brother. No, keep it between you and your husband. Because at the end of the day, you and your husband have to live that moment, that lifestyle, or that covenant. Not them. They don't live it. You live it. So therefore, other people's voices is not a factor. Does not even matter. And that's something that you do not want to bring into your marriage. So make sure that for people who are seeking, want to be married, make sure you keep that in mind. Be confident, strong enough, and willful enough to tackle problems with your spouse, and only your spouse. Only your spouse. And I feel like that is so super important. One of the most important things about marriage is that perspective right there is just keeping other people out your business. That is hugely important, for sure. And so that's, again, just something that I have learned out of my 12 years of being married. I have learned, and I have, had to, definitely consider and recognize, and just with my husband, just realize that, this is us at the end of the day. It's us. It's not our family. It's us. So we got to do what's best for us at the end of the day, and our household, and the type of home that we're trying to create and provide for us and our children. So that's definitely something that I have had to learn and grow within the years, for sure. And the final fifth inspirational tip that I'm going to leave you with is that marriage is a beautiful thing. People have their perspective on what marriage is. People have their opinions of what they think marriage is. But marriage, when you know the foundation of marriage and you respect the foundation of marriage, marriage is a beautiful thing. There is nothing like having that significant, that spouse, that other person that you can truly say that you want and can spend the rest of your life with. Knowing that they love you unconditionally, knowing that they love you through all the flaws, because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I have my flaws, and I'm still, God is still working on me. So nobody is perfect. The only perfect one is sitting in heaven. There is no perfect person. We're not perfect. But knowing that your husband loves you, despite what your past may have been, despite what kind of stuff you may have gone through traumatically as a child, stuff that you may have done that was not in the will of God, but you grew up, you got past it, you got saved from it, and knowing that your spouse loves you through all that and still wants you to be the one that they're with everlasting, and your ride or die partner, it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. I wouldn't trade my husband for the world. I know that he loves me unconditionally. I know that no matter what problems we may tackle, no matter what we go through, I know for sure that at the end of the day, my husband is there for me. He is by my side. And that's also something that I had to grow and learn within my years of marriage, realizing that, you know, my husband is not against me. Like, he is there for me. He wants to see the best in me. He wants the best for me. And that's something that I had to come in terms, and I had to learn, and I had to really absorb within my heart throughout my years of marriage. And just knowing that you have that one person that you can say that with, and that you can go through the good, you can go through the bad, you can go through the ugly with, and you come out stronger than ever. How can that not be a beautiful thing? How can it not? I mean, God is amazing. What God will take you through, what God will provide you with, what God will, you know, despite, and I believe God allows us to go through things to really open up our minds to see how loyal and faithful we are to Him, and also to your spouse. And I believe He allows certain things to happen. But when you become triumphant and you become overpowering and you master that, trust me when I tell you that life is endless. There's nothing that you cannot do going forward with you or with your spouse. There's nothing that you guys cannot conquer together. And that is the beautiful thing about marriage. So I hope that you guys was inspired by um this series that I'm doing. This is the first of the series, and I'm hoping that this was a first starter, a good starter for you guys. I hope that you was inspired. For anybody who is, you know, considering wanting to be married in the future, I hope that this was inspirational to you. And I thank you guys for being here with me on Aspire to Inspire, Inspo with Hot Cocoa. And I will see you guys on my next video. Be blessed, and definitely, y'all, just be blessed. Just be blessed.